Well, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you all. Good, good brunch. It is 11 a.m. here in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. I'm drawing you closer. And everything is great. Mila is on her way. My cold is pretty much 90% gone. Cheers, everybody. And we are continuing our fundraiser for Feed America Together, the fundraiser that we've been running off and on all year. Just check something. And I want to give a shout out to you. Thank you, everybody who's decided to join us. Good to see you, Desiree Rabato. Thank you for your help. Thank you, K Travel, Geocosmic Valentine, Debbie Brady, Joyce Pietras. Beautiful to see you all here. Yeah, so I want to give a shout out before we get started. I always feel like I never have enough room here. Why is that? To our recent members. Can you all see me while I'm doing this? I want to give a special shout out to Patricia Meek. Thank you for being a member, Patricia Meek. Katrine Devine. Hi, Katrine Devine. Thank you for being a member. And Renee Remington for re-upping again to help me continue to do this stream. Thank you, everybody, particularly when I'm out with the flu and people know I'm sick and they know I can't entertain them, but they're still joining. That's really sweet, and I appreciate that. Also want to give a shout out to Sam Nomad, Lori Kenton, Donna Lineberry, Polly McLeroy, for being recent members to patrons over the last month. Much appreciation. I should get over to Patreon more often, shouldn't I? And thank you to the anonymous person who donated $5 to feedamerica.org. You know, we're looking at the foreclosure rates going up. And I guess the main reason is because people are, they didn't anticipate inflation. You know, you buy house that you think you can afford, and then everything goes up, and then there's an emergency, and the next thing you know, you've got a serious challenge on your hands. So that's why I think the anti-hunger programs are a good thing. Well, anyway, so I have not had my breakfast yet. I am just having a cup of some delicious coffee sent to me by Michelle Knight. This is the Jamaican Blue Mountain that she was kind enough to send me, and I'm enjoying it immensely. Why don't I go ahead and turn the camera around? Tell me who you are, what you're up to, what you're eating, what you're drinking. Introduce yourself to the group. This is an open forum. We welcome all diverse opinions. Somebody was upset because I posted something recently from Jordan Peterson, who is controversial, and the other guy, Brandt. But I think it's important for us to look at diverse opinions so that we can talk about it. And so we welcome everybody, regardless of your opinion. Just be kind to all so that all can be kind to you. We're trying to bring back the old-fashioned salon where people are free to talk things through without feeling like everyone's going to beat them up. Hi, Karen W. Atmosphere River. Yes, I hope everybody in the areas that are being flooded, particularly in California, I hope you're staying safe. Quite crazy over there. Hi, Denise Briarley. Thank you for your help. Adam, good to see you. He's in Houston, Texas, and he's having a breakfast sandwich. Ooh, Debbie Brady's having something that sounds really refreshing. A Thai mango inspired salad. How many people here have gone to Thailand? I think it would be so much fun to visit Thailand. Hi, Maggie, who you're having a pizza day? Well, good for you. It's snowy in Green Bay. Well, stay warm. Joanne Sands is having a bagel, chips, oolong tea, and yogurt. Yum, yum, yum. Grapefruit juice for salty chip. Joyce Pietras is being a pure heart. She's having hot water. Oh, very nice. Waffles with peanut butter, says Marjorie Harrison. My goodness, that sounds lovely with real maple syrup. Arctic Mochiano in Connecticut, says Dragon Rising. Well, Earl Grey Lemon Cookie, IA. I mean, you guys, you're obviously taking very good care of yourself. Now we all get to decide whose meal we want to eat. All right. So thank you, Anonymous, for that $20 donation. All right. Let's talk about the remote views. Let's bring everything together based on the information that we got. This goes all the way back to Robert Mueller. We've talked a lot about Robert Mueller, and that Robert Mueller said that this was part of a long investigation into fraud and the bribing of members of Congress. That the investigation that Robert Mueller was looking at had to do with bribes by bad people that went to members of Congress. And you could also say maybe the justices. So, what you have here is you have potentially members of our political elite and our legal elite being bribed. And so, in that remote, Robert Mueller also told us that there were meetings taking place on boats, that part of these meetings involved some not so good things that they were doing, wheeling and dealing, paying people under the table, shell corporations, etc. Now, we have a show, I believe it's called Siemens, something like that. Siemens. Anybody remember? Excuse me. So that's on YouTube, and that shows the yacht seizures, right? So there's a bunch of yacht seizures that are starting to happen. And these are yachts of people like oligarchs, people that are hiding information. Particularly, they appear to be hiding their electronics and information about shell corporations. If I misspelt the name of the YouTube channel, please forgive me. So Bannon was arrested a while ago on Gao Wang Guy's yacht. Do you all remember that? By the post office? And he was charged. All right. So we also have Putin's right-hand man. His boat is now seized. A bunch of people's boats have been seized. And Gao Wang Guy is not his real name. His real name is Ho Wan Kwok, and he's a donor to the Republican Party. He also appears to have blown up the 18th floor of the Sherry Netherland Hotel on Fifth Avenue, where he had an apartment. He's been accused of $1 billion in fraud. And what else can we say about this guy? Bannon associate. He was raising money to fight against, under the guise of fighting against China. So you were donating to an anti-China thing, and then he was pocketing it and buying a $50,000 compound with the money. All right, so we put the remote views together combined with what's actually going on. Let's place a bet. How much do you want to bet the feds are all over Gao Wang Guy's yacht as we speak? Sad end. Sad end to a very strange man, right? He wanted to be the head of the Tang dynasty. We've talked about him. He wanted to be emperor of China. He thought this was real. He changed his name to the name of a former emperor, I believe, of the Tang dynasty. So I think he's going to be linked to a lot of cases of fraud. I think that we're also looking at potentially some charges to people that are related to the inaugural fund. There seems to be something that's going to go down with that if you take a look at some of what Robert Mueller said. Also, if you go back to what Robert Mueller said, we have a very distinct memory of Robert Mueller and Michael Cohen. Who here has been here for a long time? So let's remind people who've been here for a long time and new people what happened. We did a remote on Michael Cohen when he got raided, and we found that he had been asked by members of the Trump team to hide stuff at his location, which we now know was his storage unit. Then he got raided by Robert Mueller's team because they thought he was going to destroy it. So they were intercepting phone calls between him and the Trump organization. So then he sat down with Robert Mueller, and Mueller said what? What did Robert Mueller say to do? If you don't do this, you're going to spend the next 40 years in prison. Told him you'd better start making some phone calls, kid. Right? So who did he start calling? He called the woman from the inauguration committee, right? Woolcraft, is that how you pronounce her name? So she was cooperating. So there's an investigation. Anything and everything that he may have gotten involved with that was shady, he needed to start making some phone calls. He also called Ivanka Trump, right? So now he's coming out and saying that Kushner is cooperating with the feds. What did the remotes say a couple of years ago? That the Kushners were cooperating with the feds. Why were they cooperating with the feds? Because they didn't want to spend time in prison. What did the remotes say about Bannon? That's right. Yeah, they have their signatures on the documents. So then what happened? He got them to flip. Then we did a remote view of Cohen last month, right? We said, what are you doing with the DA? And what did Michael Cohen say he was doing in front of the DA? He said he was rehearsing for a grand jury. So what happened last week? He went before the grand jury. So I guess the question now is, this is getting interesting. We did a remote view that showed that he was leaving the prison, and he was going and speaking to, he was giving depositions, right? So that was part of all of that. We did a remote on the future of Donald Trump 4 to 6 weeks ago, and it looked like New York was negotiating for Trump to surrender. Remember that? So Trump is being asked to surrender. They're arranging this surrender on Tuesday. Tuesday. Why do you think that Donald Trump announced it? Do you think he's trying to create a riot? Is he in a last dodge attempt? Break me out of here. Protect me from the coppers, right? Calling on the Proud Boys and anybody else to come and get him, right? Does he really think his friends are going to break him out of jail? I don't think so. Not this time. Yeah, not this time. Okay. Is there anything I want to predict? Well, I mean, Mueller got on the boats, right? That was a big thing for him because they were trying to find out about these shell corporations and how certain bribes were taking place. So I think that that was huge. Bannon, let's throw it out there. Bannon, the guy that's always there, and then as he's leaving, the boat blows up or that apartment blows up or whatever. Who is Bannon in all of this? Let's talk about that. Is he a double agent? Is he one of those slimy kind of people that's an informant that tells them just enough to keep himself out of prison? What do you think? Is Bannon an informant? Is that why this guy has 9 lives? You don't have to like your informants. They don't have to be ethical people, by the way. Probably, right? He'll do anything and everything to save himself, right? Did Robert Mueller get everything he said he was going to get? Did he steer us wrong? Was he an accurate voice, the person we connected with when we used Robert Mueller as a personality to target in the experiment 3 years ago? Did we get accurate information? Can HCRV be used as a secondary tool for law enforcement? Yes. Should it be taught to law enforcement? I think so. Oh, my song. We can sing it. Should we sing it on Tuesday? See, Tuesday's my birthday, right? Or is it's Tuesday? No, my birthday's Wednesday, March 22nd. I'll be 60 years old. And let me tell you, it is a great birthday. So yeah, so you guys want to do the Robert Mueller song together? Guy's got the patience of a saint, doesn't he? Tick tock, tick tock. Sooner or later you're gonna be mine. Tick tock. Sooner or later you're gonna be fine. Tick tock. Because Robert Mueller always gets his man sooner or later. The G-man always gets his man, right? All right. So that was fun. We went down a memory lane together and it brought us to where we're at right now. We don't get everything right as remote viewers. But one of the great things about remote viewing is that it helps us look at things to the best of our ability, to stand back and put emotion aside, not to give up emotion, because emotion's a great tool to communicate, but it has to be viewed from a place of objectivity, right? So the next thing people wanted me to talk about briefly had to do with the war in Bakhmut. If I could talk a little bit more about the Wagner group, yes, I can. And what's going on in Bakhmut with the Wagner group. Do we feel that this can continue? I don't know how this can continue. Where would they be getting their money from? They did manage to break into some supply chains from the Ukrainian forces when they were in Bakhmut, and also when they were near the Zaporizhzhia, excuse me, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. But um, I, I was thinking about this a lot. I was thinking, you get stiffed on the check. Say that Say the head of Wagner gets stiffed. Who's he going to go to? You're a terrorist organization. It's not like you get stiffed. What's he going to do? Go to the police and say he didn't get paid by Russia? He's now talking about hiring another 40,000 soldiers. With what money? I think it's all fluff. Yeah, Putin in Mariupol. Who knows what he's doing, because I can't see how, when the weapons are gone, how do you fight? It's interesting because Putin is trying to have it both ways, but I don't know how they would fight. What's left? They lost over 1,000 tanks. They've killed off all their criminals. They took thousands of criminals, and the criminals died. There's really nobody left. Now they're talking about taking children. They have no weapons anyway because I mean, come on. I don't know how this is going to end, but I can tell you as a remote viewer that they look so broke, Russia. I don't even know how they can continue. North Korea, the last remote I would give does involve North Korea, and it looks like the most likely end for North Korea will be a hostile takeover by the North Korean military. If they are communicating with the South Korean military, they could do a joint overthrow of North Korea if that happens, so that the coup would happen as part of a joint effort between the North and South Korean military. And then in that case, the Kim family would have to flee North Korea or face charges by the world for crimes against humanity. But that is the most likely end, is that the military will take out the Kim dynasty, and that they will probably work with South Korea to do it. I held off on that remote because I didn't know if I had permission to deliver that one, because I didn't want to put people's lives at risk if members of the military are communicating with the South as part of a takeover. And so, but I think in a situation like that, the Kim family would have to seek safety somewhere. And then the question would become, would China go in, or would they just amass at the border? I don't think, I followed the energy to see if that happens, if the Chinese would go in, and the answer is they will not. So that is the most likely way that this is going to end. Kind of reminds me of the fall of Libya, in the sense that they went in and they captured the head of Libya, and that could very likely be what happens in North Korea. Yeah. All right. So I think what we're going to do, since we've been talking for almost half an hour, is I'd like to do the empath's prayer if you'd like to hear that. And I'd like to give you all a group reading today. After I give the readings and finish today, I'll be going to Salem, Oregon with my beautiful older sister, Bambi. And she is treating me to 4 days in Seaside, Oregon. She has one of those timeshares. Yeah. Wyndham timeshare. I don't know. Anyway, so she got us 4 days in Seaside, which I absolutely love. So we're going to walk the beach and have some beautiful sister bonding time. Won't that be fun? All right, so let's do it. Let's do the empath's prayer and community reading. I love Seaside, and they have this area called Kids Village. Who here has been to Seaside, Oregon? It is the best place on earth to take kids. They've got this area. I mean, anything and everything a child would want is in Seaside, Oregon. Your kids will not be disappointed if you take them there, or your grandkids. They have everything from cars that you pedal to kites to candy to burgers to arcades to beaches. Yeah, great place for kids. Well, thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. Much appreciated. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself, excuse me, and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. Let's go in. Let's give ourselves a reading. Okay. Good to see you all. All right, where we are at right now, you are entering into a period of time in your life where there's just a tremendous amount of growth for you. How have you in the past had certain kinds of beliefs that have held you back? I think that is something to meditate on right now. How have you had certain beliefs that have held you back? The Karma card is the Five of Pentacles, which is a card that denotes poverty. Trying to get back to church, feeling exiled. The light is on in the church, but you can't get in. Being drugged down by circumstances. So the Karma card is the things you have to go through or let go of in order to evolve as a person. But you know what's interesting also is the base card for us is scholarship, knowledge. So I would say that the main thing I would take away about this time in your life is that you are just growing. And also, it's a great time to challenge whatever belief systems you may have at this time that are holding you back as a person. where you're at right now, there are different directions you can go in terms of your finances. Many of you, excuse me, sorry. Many of you could be on the verge of having 2 or 3 income sources. Uh, Two of Pentacles. You know, it's interesting. I think a lot of you are really afraid, having financial fear. I get it, man. You put 100,000 in the market, right? Those of us who have 401ks or whatever, we put money in for years, right? And now the 100,000 is 50,000, right? So you can see these cards coming up for a lot of us: poverty, Two of Pentacles, maybe having more than one job. They say remain calm at this time and ask yourself if all your needs are being met at this time. And if your needs are not being met at this time, find out what needs are not being met and prioritize. The King of Cups comes to you, who is the bridge over troubled water. So now is the time to relax, find out what it is you need, and not get carried away by concerns. Seven of Cups stands in the 4th house, in the clouds, maybe not sure of what to do regarding your situation. Future work, what you're coming out of, huge success. 4 of Wands will lead to, are you guys quitting your job? Some of you are changing your jobs up. I think some of you are retiring. Some of you are really changing, going through major career changes, and there may be concerns about your future finances. Don't worry, you have the power within you to take control over any challenges that you have right now financially. Be balanced in all things and remember to do your exercises daily. There's a little bit of concern about health, but you can take responsibility for it. I finally got off sugar. I'm finally on monk fruit. See? It's always something. Hopes and fears, your family legacy, your finances again. And then final outcome, justice. Let's take a look here. Justice will be served. If you are starting businesses, put 110% into learning what you have to get your business to be successful, because many of you have strong business ideas and will be very successful in your future on your side hustles. You can see here the Magician is entering into the time of Ace of Wands. Power and entrepreneurship lay ahead for many of you. Your hope and your fear was your money situation, but you can see you have 2 positive aspects: return to health and a return to justice. In plainer words, seek balance, truth, and justice. Seek a balanced life. You'll be all right. Focus on your health. Make it a priority. Your cards are good. Many of you are, you already retired? Well, I saw a lot of you starting a second business, because 2 of Pentacles can be juggling 2 coins. It can be back and forth between work. Ooh, Judy is in Portugal. Very nice. Yeah. And I got some of those sugar-free wafers. They're sweetened with stevia or whatever. They were fine. I'm not obese. I mean, you guys can see me. I'm not but 10 pounds. I'd like to go down 10 pounds. Women are always wanting 10 pounds, right? I don't know. We're never happy, right? Women are never happy, no matter what our figure is. All right. So whenever we get the order to blitz, blitz, blitz away, and any questions you folks may have for the blitz, please go ahead and Oh, yeah, a lot of people changing jobs. And also, it looks like if you start a side hustle right now, you'll do very well if you put a lot of attention into it. The aftertaste of the monk fruit, yeah. Okay, I'm getting the order to blitz, blitz, blitz away. Wendy says her stocks daddy left her. Well, time to take a couple classes. I mean, invest in dividend stocks. That way you get paid regardless. That's my opinion. I mean, I'm not a stock person, but all right, let's see if there's any questions for the Blitz, Blitz, Blitz. Oh, yeah, somebody's talking about the Kite Festival. Yes, we have a Kite Festival in Seaside and Astoria. I'm thinking of seriously buying an Astoria. I keep holding off. There's just a part of me that just wants to go to a nice little town by the ocean and just die there. But then I think, what the hell am I doing? 60, come on. I got a couple more years left. I mean, 60 is a little young, right? Um, I don't know. Those are wild remotes we get from North Korea that they're probably just going to chase the Kims out eventually. That'll be interesting. Oh, good. Jenny sends money monthly to Feed America. That's really great. There was a power leak. Now, where was this power leak? Nuclear waste is leaking. Is that correct? Was it Michigan? Somewhere in the Midwest. Let's take a look. Oh, it was in Minnesota. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the power leak. That's pretty serious. Nuclear waste winding up in the Nicole Johnson. I don't know who that is. Supposedly somebody looks like me. So she's stunningly beautiful. Monticello, Minnesota. Let's look at it. Okay. The leak. The head of the head of the thing is in trouble. The boss is in trouble. The guy that oversees it. There will be legal consequences. The feds, because when you release a known substance like this into the atmosphere, that's a crime. The head of this power plant is gone. It was a decision he made. Money will be put towards the cleanup, and there will be legal consequences. It appears to be somewhat intentional in the sense that it was a decision to leak it. It looks almost like it was a decision to leak it by leadership. You can see leadership is out. This is a leadership card finished. So leadership is going to be blamed. The other in relationship to them, there's a police action or aggressive action, and you can see money coming in for the cleanup. The hopes and fears, they felt constrained. They had to get rid of it, and they didn't know how to get rid of it. They're actually saying they had no way to get rid of it. And then the final outcome is that they will shut down the nuclear power plant likely. Well, that's a hearty ending. They're going to get blamed for doing it, and leadership's going to be held responsible. And then the money has to come in for the cleanup, which is also going to trigger more information about more sites that may need to be, shut down. Will they take Trump in early? I had a vision. Was it 6 weeks ago we had the vision? Does anybody remember this stuff? Some of you guys write it down, though. I wrote it down, doctor. In the vision, it was coordinated. It was a coordinated surrender. So the fact that he's telling us that it's been coordinated for Tuesday makes sense. What else would I like to say? Oh, I think that he's trying to evoke a riot. That's probably why he announced it. Is there anything else I was something else I was supposed to say about it based on the remotes, but oh, Fonnie Willis was asked to hold off. It was imminent, but my understanding based on the remote was that she was communicated with because they wanted to get through grand juries. If she had done something or charged him first or gone forward, there was a concern it could have biased or had an impact on other grand juries that are going on at this time. So that was why that decision was made. There was some kind of communication that took place. Okay. Let's see if it's going to, the groundwater is going to be affected by that uh, nuclear waste dump. That was a very silly thing to do. There are experts there that are going to contain it, and the money is there to deal with it. And they are talking about the fact that we have really good hazmat emergency. They have really good training for nuclear dump now that they haven't had in the past. Mastery. I think there are things you can plant too. Evidently, horsetail breaks down nuclear waste. That's why near nuclear sites they will plant horsetail. It's interesting. It's a prehistoric plant. There's plenty of money there to clean it up. They will probably shut the plant down. They say that the ecosystem will be preserved and it'll probably be turned into a wildlife preserve in that area. So they must have creeks and rivers, etc., in that area because the plant is being permanently shut down and the area is going to be walled off and conserved and protected. And a ton of money is going into the project. These are new times. We have knowledge about how to do these things we've never had before. See the money coming in, the masters. It will be fine. But the lesson is that it can't continue. Wow. Crazy times, huh? All right, let's look at Trump's indictment. It's been linking from December. Yeah, Susan. Evidently, the head of the place is in trouble with those cards. The big boss is like the emperor, and that was where the problems fell on that. That person's going to be directly held responsible. Okay, what is going to happen with this perp walk on Tuesday? They have so much evidence against Donald Trump that they have multiple other charges that he's facing, and they waited until they had multiple charges before they brought him before a judge. So uh, he was caught red-handed. It's irrefutable evidence of all kinds of crimes, not just Stormy Daniels, but years of fraud. They followed the money. They He's a criminal. Oh, the investigation, the money, holding the money, coup, Donald Trump, final outcome. This is, by the way, Mueller's card. Justice absolute from the King of Wands. So oh, there's a female judge in this mess too. No, it was a joint effort. They say it was a joint effort that happened between multiple agencies that led to these convictions. There's multiple convictions. So it went on for a long time. There was a lot of stuff that we're not privy to, but I would be very surprised if he wasn't brought in on Tuesday, charged. He's probably given a gag and told not to talk to anybody, including social media. I think some of this. Are you a hare? I think this is a hare. I think that might be a hare rather than a. Yeah, so do you really think that do you really think that Trump would listen to a gag order, though? I mean, come on now. All right, let's take a look at Jack Smith next. It's crazy. It's cuckoo. All right, what is going on with Jack Smith? It just feels to me like they had years of collecting evidence, and so what we should start seeing now is charges against members of Congress. The big guy has been taken in probably Tuesday. Trump is going to be charged, and so it doesn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if all of his henchmen started being charged with other things, just because now that this is happening, I see other charges, other investigations into the money, cooperating witnesses. I think that the time of Trump is finished. Remember when we had said in the remote views that when you follow the energy, 2023 is the time of the reckoning, that we had the accounting and now it's the time of the reckoning. When we followed the energy on Putin, he had crimes against humanity. He had been charged, and then the Russians were pressured to turn him over but refused. So instead, he was pressured to retire to a kind of house arrest. See us kind of moving in that direction right now. In terms of the question we have, another question here about how will Trump serve. I think it's likely house arrest. But when you're dealing with a senior and it's house arrest, you probably want them to be staying with family or some kind of facility. And so I thought it would be likely that he would probably stay with Eric and Eric Jr. and their family, because that way he'd be able to fulfill his house arrest obligations, but also he would be under the care of family members at the same time. which is probably what you'd be looking for when you've convicted somebody who's a senior in their 70s with questionable mental health. And so everything seems to be pointing that it's going to be probably him being under familial care. All right. So this question is coming from Lama Bryant. She wants to know about Ivanka Trump's future. All right. Ivanka Trump. Well, I mean, the first thing I feel is this tension in her marriage. Does anyone hear about that? Do you think this is one of the things that cost her marriage? Do you think that she and Kushner have been cooperating for some time? I do. The police are right over her. She's still facing criminal charges. She's thinking of moving outside the United States. She has a deal with the feds right over her. She's got the feds right over her, please. Miss Mueller's card. I see cooperation. Knight of Cups is a cooperation card. I still think she could do jail time, though. Partnership. Yeah, I think she's cooperating, but still could be charged with something because she broke the law. Melania, do you think? I don't think Melania is going to be there. All right, this question from Joel. Thank you, Joel, for keeping track of the questions. He wants to know if Iran is getting attacked by Israel. What do y'all think? Yes, no? Destroying their weapon depots? Let's take a look. It switched a lot of opinions in Israel against Putin, and people are now siding with Zelensky, which is good because Putin had a relationship with Netanyahu. So that's good. Iran has to make peace and negotiate with the liberals and progressives, or they're going to collapse as a country. The liberals, excuse me, the liberals are winning in Iran. Iran right now in a state of grief. The opposition is celebrating. A lot of work to save the country. Ace of Wands. They're going to have to create a secular government or a joint government. In terms of Israel, I would say Israel is very much involved in sabotaging them. Do they even have the financial wherewithal to get into the middle of the war? And what do they hope to get out of war with Ukraine? Right now, Iran is opening into peace negotiations with Saudi Arabia. Is that good? Yes. I think so. Uh, China is brokering peace deals. China wants what's good for the bottom line. What's good for China? What's good for China is an end to war so that trade can start to open up, that there won't be these trade wars, these trade problems, trouble getting access to certain things because of the war. Yeah, all of that. Will we see the purple walk, geocosmic Valentine? Yes. I think that there are a number of reasons why uh, this has to happen, and I think that the message from the police is that there is an account and a reckoning for all of us, right? So if it were me, I would want him to do the perp walk. If I was one of the investigators, I would want him to be treated the same way as anybody else who broke the law. Why should he be treated differently? This is the United States. It's Farmer John. You serve your 4 years or your 8 years, and then you go back to the farm. We don't have aristocrats in America. We're just regular people serving our country, right? So that was the principle of a presidency. So there's no reason he shouldn't be treated like everybody else because he is like everybody else. He's not the president anymore. All right, I think we should do one more. What do y'all say? I think we should do one more. TikTok. What do y'all think about TikTok? I like TikTok. All right. Thanks for your help, Debbie. I appreciate your help. Is Zelensky corrupt? No. Zelensky is a very brave man. Corrupt? That's the one thing you can't say about Zelensky. He's not corrupt. Nobody walks in front of gunfire when they're corrupted. He's a great man. I think most people would, he waltzed into history, right? It started off as a joke, him running. And then his friends I can tell you he's liberal. He's been open about that. He's a Democrat. He's not a Republican. He's a Democrat. He was funded by Aronofsky, who is a oligarch who broke away from Putin. So you could argue that he's funded by anti-Putin, but that's okay. We're anti-Putin, right? So, I mean, I think people thought that Zelensky was going to stabilize the country for Ukraine. I think he went above and beyond what people expected from him. I think he will probably go on to be considered one of the greatest leaders of Ukraine's history, which is pretty impressive for a guy who started off as an actor and comedian, right? All right, let's look at TikTok. All right, TikTok. We should probably look at She too, right? Oh, so I mean, like how I feel as She is that you're doing to me what you did to Russia. You bankrupted Russia. Now you're trying to bankrupt China. It's your fault. It's America's fault. They're trying to bankrupt us. So it's just that the West is divesting from China, and that's causing a lot of collapse of China. China doesn't have any money. I'm telling you, sell your real estate, recoup your losses, and all the other things that are going on with China. But the future of TikTok, we could leave TikTok. I mean, you can always watch shorts on YouTube, which is owned by Google, but, you know, I really feel when I go into the energy on China that she is in trouble. They're trying to cover up just how bad it is. Anybody with half a brain knows how bad it is. And I just I don't see China surviving as this big, massive, scary bulldog in the coming years, just because I don't think they have the money to be that. And I think the solution for China has always been to give more freedom to the states. As long as people adhere to basic federal laws, right, in China, like they want people to be literate in Tibet. Tibet had a huge illiteracy problem prior to the Chinese takeover. So there were good things that came out, bad things and good things. But I think the only way for China to save themselves is that they have to give more autonomy to certain areas, sell off a bunch of stuff, and try and save their real estate, etc. Because the cards are terrible for China: conflict, fighting, and people walking away from projects. So it's very likely if they don't begin to clean up their human rights, clean up their portfolio is a mess right now. They've really overextended themselves, and so we will see uh, a breakdown of China probably in the coming years as they fix it all. They're going to have to fix it all. All right, my beloveds, that was fun. Did you all have fun? Thank you for donating to the charity. That was awfully sweet of you. If there are any charities you like that you would like us to support, let us know. If they are approved by Google, we will definitely put them up. Somebody had asked if YouTube takes any money. No, they take zero money. They just collect it and it goes directly to the charities. And we've done really well for ourselves. We've been raising, oh, the heifer is international. That might be fun. I like it when we buy something and then it's like we own something, like if we buy a heifer or if we buy a tree. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Yes, Ukraine is fine. Ukraine is going to be fine. We talked about the Wagner group last week. What happened to the Wagner group? Seems so unfair, doesn't it? Oh, the humanity. The Wagner group, well, they got stiffed. What are they going to do? Sue? They can't sue. Yeah. They're surrounded. Yeah. Oh, buy some bees through heifer. That'll be nice. Yes. All right. Be well, everybody. Play nice with the other children. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I will see you all soon. Be well. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.